Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison.
Hi, this is William Shatner.
It is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Friday. We made it through the week. Oh, yeah. Maybe some of those people storming Area 51. I don't know if they're going to make it through the week, but we'll get to that. Don't worry. We'll get to some of those morons that have been arrested this morning. A lot to talk about, not just Area 51, storm Area 51, but a lot of news. The president is about set to hold a press conference. One of those subjects will definitely be in regard to this whistleblower story. Oh, and did you see the former mayor, Rudy Giuliani? He lost his marbles on CNN last night with Chris Cuomo. It is unbelievable. We have the audio to prove it. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. We'll get to that coming up here in just a few minutes. The president's response to all this news coming out that apparently he tried to bribe leaders of the Ukraine into giving them aid for dirt on Joe Biden and his son. You can't make this stuff up. I promise you we will get to that, but boy, we got some great guests today also. A lot to get to. Guy's name is Dick Shappy. By the way, that is a great name. I think I said that yesterday. He's turning his Rhode Island strip club into a sports betting business. How crazy is this? This is wild. Is that setting a new trend in this country, maybe? If your business is failing, or maybe it's not failing. I don't know. We're going to ask him. Why is he turning his strip club into a sports book, basically? We're going to talk to him about that coming up in hour number 2. Hour number 3. John Becker going to join us from the Oakland Tribune, talk a little Raiders football, preview week 3. Sadly, by the way, the Las Vegas Aces were not victorious last night, so they are down 2-0, and game 3, I believe, is Sunday in Las Vegas against the Washington Mystics. So we'll get to all that stuff. As I said, we have a jam-packed show, a heck of a lot to get to, and we're going to start, of course, by talking about Rudy Giuliani. So I'm watching CNN last night. And don't worry, by the way, we'll get to this Area 51 stuff. Apparently, a few people have been arrested. There was a live feed of them attempting to storm Area 51. We'll get to all that stuff, I promise you. So Chris Cuomo's had Giuliani on the show plenty of times. But last night was a little bit different. Right really at the beginning of the interview, he caught Giuliani in a major lie. I'm telling you, I used to respect Rudy Giuliani for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I thought he was a pretty good mayor in New York. I thought he cleaned up Manhattan. He cleaned up the streets. I thought he did a pretty good job. This was many years ago. And then after 9/11, I said that, I've said this a million times, that I thought he showed a lot of leadership after 9/11. I had respect for the man. I didn't always agree with some of his policies, some of his politics, but I thought he was a pretty good mayor, and I thought he did a really good job after 9/11. I had a lot of respect for him. It seems like he has lost all credibility since being associated with Donald Trump, and last night was no different. So this is Mayor Giuliani and Chris Cuomo on CNN last night, where Cuomo, the reason why he had Giuliani on was to ask him about Ukraine, was to ask him about this whistleblower story. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is apparently, and we're still trying to get all the details of what happened here, but it appears as though that Donald Trump was speaking to the leader of the Ukraine. Many people were listening, and offered aid to the Ukraine in return for dirt on Joe Biden and his son, which is clearly an overuse of power. Clearly, you can be impeached for something like that. That is what apparently happened, and we're going to get more information, and I'll explain to you in a little bit here how that information is going to eventually come out and how some Trump supporters are trying to block that information from getting to Congress. Adam Schiff has spoken about this. So here is Chris Cuomo asking one of the first questions to Rudy Giuliani about this so-called investigation into Joe Biden.
Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No, actually, I didn't. I asked the Ukraine to investigate the allegations that there was interference in the election of 2016 by the Ukrainians for the benefit of Hillary Clinton, for which there already is a court finding.
You never asked anything about Hunter Biden. You never asked anything about Joe Biden.
The only thing I asked about Joe Biden is to get to the bottom of how it was that Lutsenko, who was appointed, dismissed the case against Antak.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
You just said you didn't.
Okay, I don't even know where to start here. You want to talk about making yourself look like a fool on national television. He just lied. The beginning of that clip, Cuomo asked him. His response was no in regards to Joe Biden. And then literally, you cannot make this up. 20 seconds later, he says he did talk to the Ukrainians about Joe Biden. So right off the bat, the beginning of the interview, Giuliani lies. Now, you can make the argument maybe he's not very well. Maybe he's getting old. Maybe he didn't remember but he lied. It was a blatant lie. So right then and there, he has absolutely zero, and I mean zero, credibility. And then Giuliani decided to push back by saying the president had the right to do whatever he did.
Did the president talk to the Ukrainian president about what he wanted done with Joe Biden and what he wanted done with Paul Manafort?
I have no idea. I never asked him that. I don't know if he did, and I wouldn't care if he did. He had every right to do it as the president of the United States. He had every right to say to the Ukrainian president, we have two outstanding allegations of massive corruption.
Absolutely 100% not true. Why? When you talk to another entity, in this case Ukraine, and you offer them aid or you offer them anything in return for dirt on one of your political opponents, in this case most likely the political opponent that will be running against Donald Trump for the presidency in 2020, that is absolutely and positively 100% against the law. Now, what is Donald Trump's response to all this? Shockingly, he says another fake news story out there. It never ends. Virtually any time I speak on the phone to a foreign leader, I understand that there may be many people listening from various U.S. agencies, not to mention those from the other country itself. No problem, he says. Then he goes on to say, knowing all this, is anybody dumb enough to believe that I would say something inappropriate with a foreign leader while on such a potentially heavily populated call? I would only do what is right anyway and only do good for the USA. Let me repeat that again. Donald Trump says, knowing all this, is anybody dumb enough? Well, here's my response to that. These are some of the president's actions with world leaders only over the course of the last year or two. He gave classified information to the Russian ambassador and foreign minister. Remember this? It was in the Oval Office the day after he fired James Comey for not stopping the Russian investigation. Do we all remember that? If you want to talk about quote-unquote dumb. Remember when Donald Trump stood next to Vladimir Putin, the evil, murderous dictator, and took Putin's word over our own intelligence in regards to Russian interference? Do we all remember that? Yeah, I guess you could call that dumb, Mr. President. Remember when he was sitting with Vladimir Putin? This was like 7 or 8 months ago. He's sitting with Vladimir Putin, and somebody in the media says, are you going to tell Vladimir Putin to not meddle in the elections? And Donald Trump smirks and laughs, and Vladimir Putin jokes, and Donald Trump says in a low voice, Vladimir, don't interfere in the elections. And they both laugh like it's some sort of joke. Yeah, you want to talk about dumb. And what about Kim Jong-un? Where do I start with this? Do you remember when he was asked about Otto Warmbier, the poor kid who took down a poster in North Korea and he was killed, brutally killed? Do we remember that whole situation? And then up there on a stage in North Korea, members of the media asked him about that, and he said he believed that Kim Jong-un was sorry, and he believed when Kim Jong-un said he had absolutely nothing to do with it, and he felt sorry about it, and Donald Trump said he believed him. Now, I could go on with some of the horrific things he said, or dumb, as Donald Trump likes to put it, things he's done on a national stage with world leaders. So Trump is the last person to have any credibility when he says, oh, I would never do something like this. Knowing all of this, is anybody dumb enough to believe it? Yeah, we're not dumb. You're the dumb one, Mr. President, because you've done stupid things with world leaders before. The point I'm trying to make is he has zero credibility when it comes to this stuff. Look at the way he's acted and look at the things he said on a stage with Vladimir Putin. Look at what he did with classified information to the Russian ambassador. Heck, remember when he took a trip to Iraq and he gave classified information on where some of those soldiers were? You want to talk about dumb? I absolutely believe this story. And by the way, Trump has even admitted that the whistleblower here is partisan. This isn't a right-winger or a left-winger. This is somebody who is partisan, who was very concerned with what went down. So I absolutely 150% believe this story. And Trump has also made some absurd comments in the last 24 hours. I mean absurd. He said he could talk about whatever he wants to talk about to a world leader. That is not true, Mr. President. You can't do that. You can't bribe a member of another country for dirt on a political leader. Since when have you been allowed to do something like that? It's against the law. You can't do it. But the rules don't apply to President Trump, apparently, according to people, that work for him, including Giuliani. He goes on Cuomo's show last night and deflects. Lies right to start the interview. A complete and total fabrication, a lie. Why is it that Trump supporters out there, not all of them, but why is it that some of you Trump supporters out there think that this behavior is okay? What if Obama had done this? Why is it that you think it is okay for the president of the United States, make no mistake about it, to talk to a leader in the Ukraine, bribe them, and it appears as though he did, and I think more information is going to come out. Why is it okay for the president to do that, to try to get dirt on Joe Biden and his son? And by the way, how convenient that he's trying to get this information from the man who's probably going to be running against him for president of the United States. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it, right? I'm sure he's just so concerned. I'm sure the president is just so concerned about Joe Biden's behavior, and I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with his own interest. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he wants to win the presidency in 2020. Come on, guys, give me a break here. Give me a break. This behavior is absurd, it's ridiculous, and it's enough to say, that's it, you need to step down. It's enough. And I know Republicans all over the world were up in arms when Donald Trump received oral sex from an intern, and then, Bill Clinton lied about it, and he was impeached for it eventually. And I am not condoning that behavior. But where are those same Republicans now? Where are you? What would you rather have? Would you rather have a president of the United States lie about cheating on the first lady? Or would you rather have a president of the United States talk to a foreign entity, in this case Ukraine, and allegedly offer them aid, and in return, after offering them aid, ask them to get dirt on a presidential candidate opponent that's going to be running against him in 2020? Now, both are not good, but I'm going to tell you something. I'd rather have a president of the United States cheat on his wife than to sell out the country. And in my personal opinion, that's exactly what Donald Trump did. He has zero credibility. Giuliani pretty much admitted to that. And oh, how convenient. Giuliani said when he went to the Ukraine and he asked them questions about Joe Biden, it was not at the directive of Donald Trump. Does anybody believe that? Are you kidding me? We'll open up the phone lines at 257-5396. Again, the GCI Guys hotline if you want to be a part of the conversation. That is 257-5396. This is a serious story. It's not going to go away. Adam Schiff is doing whatever he can to get Congress this information. And, there are people out there that are trying to block it. The acting director of national intelligence broke the law when he decided to basically intercept the inspector's general report to Congress. That's according to Jim Hines, a Democrat. In today's closed session, McGuire refused to turn over the whistleblower complaint to Congress, citing that it did not rise to the level of urgent concern. Well, guess what? That is not McGuire's decision to make. It should, and obviously, he's playing partisan politics. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Why don't we go to Al first? Al, thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. What do you think about this?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Well, one thing that you're saying repeatedly is that he's offered aid to the Ukraine.
Allegedly.
In return for dirt. So right. So it'd be great if you said allegedly, but that's not what you've been saying.
No, I've been saying that. I did say that.
Okay. Well, so here's my question for you specifically. You're pretty quick, and I understand it's radio, and it's, believe me, nobody's more entertained than me. I love you guys. I listen every day.
I appreciate that.
To condemn folks for a lot of things that are being said but haven't been proven to this
So
point.
you're asking me why do I think that this is true? Would that be the question?
Actually, my question goes a little deeper than that.
Okay.
I'm curious as to why you don't have these deep-rooted concerns about Mr. Avenatti, who you have on your radio quite a bit.
What concerns? First of all,
what about his allegations?
Okay, I'll give you an answer. I'll give you a fair answer. I will absolutely answer that question. I'm not sure what it has to do with Donald Trump, but I'll still answer your question. Okay, and exactly, nothing at all, which is weird, but I'll answer that question anyway. First of all,
let me just give you background. It's not weird. It's just about when things haven't been proven, they're just allegations and talk,
Okay.
you're quick to jump
Here's
on
the.
folks. Like
I'm
you
going to
did
answer your
with
question.
Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch.
I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to gladly answer your question. If you want to compare Michael,
I won't interrupt you again. Go ahead.
That's okay. If you want to compare Michael Avenatti to Donald Trump, and why to this point I have defended Michael Avenatti, here's why. I just read off some things that Donald Trump has done on a stage with world leaders, embarrassing the country, taking Vladimir Putin and taking his side over our own intelligence, getting up there on a stage and taking Kim Jong-un's side over our own intelligence, making a joke about Russian meddling. Okay, these are things that he's done because we have the audio to prove it. As far as Michael Avenatti is concerned, number one, he's never been convicted of a crime. Number two, he's been an attorney for a very long time, and he does not have a history of malpractice. And number three, he's still an attorney. Number four, he's extremely intelligent and well-spoken. Okay, that's the fourth thing. And number five, Michael Avenatti, guess who he's gone after for the last 15 years? Way before Stormy Daniels. He's gone after Donald Trump, and I find it very convenient now that after Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and after this whole Stormy Daniels situation, and if not for Michael Avenatti, Michael Cohen would probably not be in jail right now. I find it very convenient now all of a sudden people are opening up the books on him and going after him. That is why I support and I defend Michael Avenatti. And I'll tell you what, sir, if he is convicted of a crime, I will talk about it on the radio, and I will tell you how disappointed I am to hear that. But until then, I am not going to do that, sir. The truth of the matter is Donald Trump has a history, and Michael Avenatti does not. Michael Avenatti has won over $1 billion in cases. He is an extremely intelligent guy, and he has some guts. Donald Trump has no guts. Make no mistake about it. Do I need to talk about his bone spurs? Do I need to talk about his history? That is why I defend Michael Avenatti, and that is why when this story came out, I absolutely believe it. Oh, yeah, and by the way, this is a nonpartisan person, according to Donald Trump, that was concerned about this issue. That is called credibility.
Why haven't you afforded the same
to who? So now you're going to bring up another name? You only get one name. I'm sorry.
Saying.
No.
Right,
you only get. You're not going to name every single Democrat down the line that I haven't talked about on my show. I gave you an answer. I win, you lose, Al. Have a nice day. 257-5396 is the number to call again. 257-5396. What a ridiculous comparison. By the way, last I checked, Michael Avenatti did not have unprotected sex with his wife a couple months after his wife had a child either. Oh, yeah, I think the president did that. Let's go to Alex. Alex, what's going on?
Hey, good morning. Unfortunately, like the gentleman said earlier, it is what do we call it? Accusations. We don't know for a fact, but if it did happen, it's really unfortunate. But unfortunately, I really believe that the world of politics, as well as the world of being a lawyer, you do things sometimes that you don't really are happy to go home and tell your wife about. What he did, if he did that, that's pretty bad. However, the reason why Trump supporters and people on the right get upset about watching Trump get attacked is because, for example, in my case, I hate the media not to be balanced. Unfortunately, we already know what happened with Hillary Clinton, and the media really didn't do much about that, about wiping off the computers or whatever it was.
Well, it's not the media's job. It's not the media's job to convict somebody.
No, I understand that, but unfortunately, we feel on the right. I mean, I'm conservative now. I used to be a Democrat. That it's not balanced. I love.
Well, it's not balanced. You're right.
I wish everything would be truthful on both sides, and then we can come to a conclusion who's corrupt and who's not corrupt, and then make it fair so we can finally maybe.
Well, listen, I can't. I understand. I understand, Alex. I don't disagree with what you said, but all I can tell you is this: I try to focus on whoever is in office. You know,
I understand.
Donald Trump.
I wish too bad you weren't. I don't know how long you've been on the radio, but I wish you would have been on the radio 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
I wasn't doing a radio show here 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I was openly criticizing Barack Obama, both on the air and off the air. But the reason why I don't talk about Hillary Clinton, the reason why I don't talk about Barack Obama or even Bill Clinton, but I did mention him earlier in this show, is because they're not in office anymore. They don't have power anymore. I talk about the people that are still in power. I've talked about the squad and my lack of desire for them. I've talked about people in office, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. I don't bring up Barack Obama. Occasionally I'll say, geez, what would people say if Barack Obama did this? Because I think that's a fair question. But, you know, I try not to bring up people in the past. I try to and what is going on right now, I just laid out the reasons why I believe Donald Trump did do this, and he probably is guilty. And I think the most important fact we've learned, Alex, this morning is that this whistleblower, even Trump said it this morning. He said that this whistleblower, to his knowledge, is not a Republican or a Democrat. That is really important here. That gives this whistleblower a ton of credibility, Alex, and among other things. And that's why I believe this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that dirty stuff happens. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised if this really happened. Brian, real quick.
Yep.
I've been trying to talk real quick on a subject about the.
I've only got 30 seconds, Alex. Go ahead.
Okay, real quick, give me an answer. One time I called and you said you were not happy with California laws regarding CCWs, and I keep saying that California does not allow us to defend ourselves. And that's where their head is, to take away our...
I'll try to address that.
Please respond to that.
I'll try to address that coming back. Unfortunately, I'm up against a hard break. I'm going to take all your calls at 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Carl, Ron, Lewis, John, Mike, we will get to all your calls on the other side of the break. We have one phone line open at 257-5396. If you want to chime into this conversation, we will take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN. All right, welcome back. It is The Vegas Take on a Friday. Sharp and Shapiro. Well, it's just Shapiro today. I think Sharpie's out sick. But coming up here, it's going to be a lot of fun. Top of the hour, a man who is turning his Rhode Island strip club into a sports book. What a story. We're going to talk to him. His name is Dick Shappy, and I have said this a million times. I'll say it again. I love that name. It's got a nice ring to it, Dick Shappy. I feel like that should be like our voiceover guy. Let's go to Dick Shappy. I don't know. I just love saying that name. I just love it. I don't know why. Maybe just because I'm immature and I have the mind of a 12-year-old. Anyway, we're taking your phone calls at 257-5396, obviously talking about this situation with Donald Trump, whistleblower. He's holding a press conference right now. So far, he's called this whistleblower partisan. He's attacked the credibility of everything that's going on. As usual, he said it's presidential harassment, so on and so forth. So, as I mentioned, Rudy Giuliani was on Cuomo's show last night. The guy has literally lost his marbles. He lied on national television again when he said that he did not talk to the Ukrainians about Joe Biden, and then 20 seconds later he says he did. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He contradicts himself left and right. So Giuliani claimed that he has signed written statements by the Ukrainians who were working with the Obama administration. Listen to this.
Getting signed, sworn statements from 5 people in the Ukraine who said that we were brought into the White House, the Obama White House, and we were told, go dig up dirt on Trump and Manafort in January of 2016. You have no idea how big this is because you're blinded.
Well, if he's blinded, Cuomo responds, and this is how I would respond. I would say, well, where's the proof? Show me the proof of this.
Give me the affidavits. I appreciate
I'm not
going to
give you the affidavits. I'm going to give them in court. I'm not going to give them to you. Who are you?
I'm a journalist. You keep saying
the FBI.
Hold on, Rudy.
You can't indict anybody.
You want to say I won't cover it because I'm like this, right? You say.
Man, when I
now
watch
you
the
won't give me the proof.
Show, I'm not going to give you proof. What can you do? You can't indict anybody. Believe me, the proof is in the right hands.
Yeah. Okay, Rudy. The proof is in the right hands. Keep in mind that this is the same guy who lied last night several times on the show and put statements out there that were not true. You're damn right, I believe, that Donald Trump spoke to the Ukrainians. You're damn right, I believe, that he said something really dumb that could harm the security of this country. You're damn right he overused his power, and we are going to find out, folks, exactly what happened here. 257-5396. Let's start off with Lewis. Lewis, what's going on?
Hey, man, it's just another... Here we go again. I think the sooner that the left can come to grips that it's not about anything other than hating Donald Trump.
What are you talking about?
The better off everyone will be.
So you don't believe this story at all. You think this is just you think this is just Democrats and the left. You think there's zero credibility to this story with this whistleblower who made this complaint.
Like yourself, I like to consider myself a pretty level-headed guy.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that after 3 years of a Russian investigation and there was nothing.
Not true. That's not true. There were at least 10 examples of obstruction, so you can't say there was nothing.
Okay, look, but the initial claim was collusion.
I understand.
There was definitely no collusion.
Okay, but what does that have to do with this story?
Okay, obstruction is open to interpretation, whatever. Okay, but for the sake of your show, okay, there was 10 examples of...
Okay, I don't want to talk about the Mueller report because that has nothing to do with this.
At every turn, it's always, this is the smoking gun. This is a smoking gun.
I don't understand what you're saying because there was no collusion. You don't think he can do no wrong, and you think this story is completely false?
No, what I'm saying is the sooner you can be honest with yourself and say, I hate
trust me, you won't find somebody more honest. What do you mean as soon as I can? I've said it a gazillion times on this show. Do you listen?
And this
I've
is
said
not
I can't.
about the safety of the country. This is about trying to get Donald Trump out of office.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First of all, if he went after Joe Biden and asked the Ukrainians and offered them aid for dirt on Joe Biden and his son, that absolutely affects this country, and it's overuse of power.
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's wait and see how this pans out. I'm just simply stating that I believe it based on Donald Trump's past. That's all.
You just said it. Let's just wait to see how this pans out.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Know what responsible journalism does?
I'm not a journalist, sir. I'm a talk show. I'm not a journalist, sir. Make no mistake about it. I do an opinion-rated talk show host. Make the distinction. I am not somebody that goes to the White House for briefings. I am not somebody that does stand-up reporting. I do an opinionated talk show. It is my job to have opinions, and it's my opinion that Donald Trump is a scumbag. It's my opinion that he probably and it's my opinion.
What you should do is you should do what you say. Gather all the facts.
I'm reporting the news.
Wait till everything comes out.
Everything isn't out yet, but I'm trying to explain to you, based on the information that is out, I am forming my opinion on that, Lewis, with all due respect.
And that's what makes you incorrect. Because
no, I'm not. What do you mean I'm incorrect? What are you talking about? I'm not incorrect. I'm basing on all the information that we have with what he's done with Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un and these foreign leaders in the past. And I'm also basing it on the Giuliani interview last night, which was a crap show, if you know what I mean. And I'm not talking about, the game craps. That's what I am basing this on. Absolutely doesn't mean I'm wrong. I'm basing my opinion, and I'm telling you this story is going to get bigger and bigger. Adam Schiff and Congress, they're going to get this information. And if it is true, which I believe it is, that he offered aid to the Ukrainians, and if he offers aid to the Ukrainians for dirt on Joe Biden and his son, this is serious. 257-5396. Let's go to Len. Len, what's going on?
Hi. I
What's
have
up?
to tell you, I can't listen to your program anymore because I got to leave for Washington. I got a new job. I'm putting out the fire in the president's pants.
I'm sorry to hear that, Len. You can still stream us online, though, at kdwn.com. Len, are you still there? Did I lose you? Did you already leave for Washington? All right, I think we lost Len. That was a funny phone call, but a very short one. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Marge. Marge, what's going on?
Well, I'm going to pack my bags and go with Len now, I think. and by the way, I think you want to change your last name to Shappy now. Is that what you're
I like that. I like that last name. I do.
Brian,
Dick Shappy is a fantastic name. I love that name. He'll be coming up here at the top of the hour. Yes.
Yeah. This whole thing, the other part about it is that there was a director of national intelligence that tried to block the story from going to the inspector general, who actually reported to Congress.
Marge,
so
if there's nothing there, why would he do that?
Yeah, exactly. That's more of a smoking gun. And supposedly there are other allegations. It's not just this one story. So I think that's going to come out in the wash. And I'm almost thinking that by this weekend, some reporter somewhere will reveal who this whistleblower is.
I agree.
They seem to find out.
I'll tell you what, whoever this guy is, Marge, I give him a lot of credit. This is not an easy thing to do,
But hopefully they've moved to another country.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, listen, Marge, people want look, we want to know exactly what took place here. We want to know the facts, but based on all the information that has come out so far, based on Giuliani's horror interview last night with Chris Cuomo, based on Donald Trump's past, I can absolutely 100% see him making that phone call and saying, hey, we want dirt on Joe Biden and his son, and, we'll offer you blah, 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 blah. I mean, this is right up Donald Trump's alley, isn't it?
It is. And the other thing that I talk about Giuliani and his brain.
Yeah.
I mean, why does he go on that show to begin with? He knows what he's in for. Come on.
What do you think?
This is ridiculous.
You're right. What do you think about when he says, when he's specifically asked, did you ask the Ukrainians about Joe Biden? And he says vehemently no. And then 20 seconds later, he says he did.
I mean, oh, my God. Talking about A fourth time. Oh, my. That was awful.
You can't make it up. Marge, always good to hear from you. Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
GCI Guys Hotline, 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, with no disrespect, I just listen to your show every morning. It's the first-time caller, and you hate the president so much, and this president does so much for our country. It questions my mind if you are a true American.
Okay, well, let me respond to that. First of all, yeah, I do think the president is a complete scumbag, and 95% of it has nothing to do with policy, just has to do with he's a horrible human being. So that's number one. Number two, if you think he's done all these wonderful things for the country, yes, I understand that, unemployment is down. I understand that the economy is doing better, certainly, than it was 10 years ago, and he's continued that. Obama started it, and he's continued it. But as far as doing all these wonderful things for the country and making him out to be a saint, what else has he done?
He's done so much.
So tell me, be specific. So, Mike, educate me. I want to hear. What has he done?
You know he's on the news.
No.
I don't have to tell you.
No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do have to tell me because I want you to educate me, Mike. Why do you think Donald Trump has done so much for this country? Please be specific with policy.
Number one, he put the American people first.
Be specific. What does that mean? What policies has he done to put Americans first? How has that helped the country?
Oh,
be specific.
God. You should know that, bro.
No, you should know that because you called in and you just made the statement, not me. So tell me, what has he done?
All these fake news coming out right now, did they prove anything with all these fake news accusing the White House and Donald Trump?
You're going on a rant. I just asked you a question. I'll ask you again.
I'm telling you.
What has the president done specifically?
Fake news.
I'm asking you a question, Mike. I need you to answer it. What has the president done specifically? Policy-wise,
I don't have to tell you. You know that.
You keep saying I don't have to tell me. You know. I want to know if you know now because now I'm questioning if you know.
You know what? And people like you, that makes everybody.
People like me. Okay, so people like me. I'm going to ask you now for a fourth time, or I'm going to hang up on you. Be specific. What has Donald Trump done? What is Donald? Let me finish the question because I don't think you've heard it because you haven't answered it for 3 times. What has the president done specifically, policy-wise, to make him out to be this wonderful president? Please answer the question.
Let me tell you, man. There's a lot of people here in Nevada that vote for Trump.
I didn't ask you who voted for Trump. I asked you what has he done policy-wise to improve the country. I've now asked you 5 times, and you can't answer the question. So now you are out to be the buffoon, not me. You made the statement, not me. 257-5396 is the number to call again, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Brady. Brady, what's going on?
Yeah, good morning, ATB. How are you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
You know what ATB stands for?
No, I don't know. I really don't care. I just want to know why you called in.
Anti-Trump, Brian, because I don't think anybody on the radio, including yourself, should be calling the President of the United States a scumbag.
The President's a scumbag. Go ahead, Brady.
You're
Continue
a
the call.
Scumbag. Where do you get off on that?
Go ahead.
You get up on that?
You have Trump fellatio syndrome. It's not my fault.
Yeah, you keep bringing it up. You're a homo. How is that?
I'm a homo? Okay, so now you're a homophobic and a racist. Bye-bye, Brady. Bye-bye. Wow, that's a great way to win an argument when you call somebody a homo on the radio. What a shocker. Somebody who could never say anything negative about Donald Trump and is homophobic. Boy, I would have never guessed that one before. 257-5396 is the number to call if you're on the GCI Guys Hotline. If you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Carl. Carl, what's going on?
Yeah, Brian, I'm sorry about what just happened.
No, that's okay. If they want to make themselves out to sound like fools, go for it.
But you have to have pity for the mentally ill, so don't let it bother you. Listen, you might think I called to put down Trump, but this is going to shock you. I actually do believe he belongs at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Not in the White House, but on Pennsylvania Avenue. So,
I like that idea.
I hope you like that. Listen, I want to just kill one quick thing about him, which is ridiculous. There are a couple, but one is what a wonderful businessman he is. That's all I keep hearing out of he can run the government. He's number one, approximately 80% of all his businesses have failed. Number two, the ones that are in business are losing money. That's why he has the government send people and whatever state it is.
Hey, Carl, you might be onto something. How come he doesn't want to show his tax returns? How come he's filing a lawsuit with his tax returns for 8 years that were subpoenaed? Why is that? I wonder why that is.
Because it's going to bury him in the hole that he's digging for himself. It's going to show what a lousy businessman he is, who he's beholden to financially, which I think is, I wouldn't go into it, but I have a pretty good idea who it is. And number two, he's cheated more. I knew somebody who had did business with him in New York. And he went bankrupt. And he didn't pay anybody.
Well, in my opinion,
money out of the business.
No, that doesn't.
Told them, sue me.
That doesn't surprise me, Carl. And listen, make no mistake about it. Everybody wants to make Donald Trump to be this brilliant businessman. You know, take a look. Let's take a look at those tax returns. Let's see how brilliant he has been over the years. Somebody gives you a $500 million business. Let's see if you can make money. It's a little bit easier when you start with $500 million. Ask Mark Cuban how well he would have done if he started with $500 million. No, Mark Cuban started with nothing. And by the way, Cuban is a Republican. He started with nothing. And look at where he ended up. That is what I call a good businessman. But, you know, we're talking about this whistleblower story. We're talking about Giuliani's appearance last night on CNN, which was a complete and utter disaster. Make no mistake about it. And, you know, he clashed with Cuomo for 20 minutes, mainly just attacking CNN, calling them fake news. He personally attacked Chris Cuomo. Meanwhile, while lying on national television, saying he never asked. Well, you know what? I want to play that clip again. I want people to hear this because this is important. Cut number one. This is Chris Cuomo asking Rudy Giuliani straight up if he ever talked to the Ukrainians about Joe Biden.
Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No, actually, I didn't. I asked the Ukraine to investigate the allegations that there was interference in the election of 2016 by the Ukrainians for the benefit of Hillary Clinton, for which there already is a court finding.
You never asked anything about Hunter Biden. You never asked anything about Joe Biden.
The only thing I asked about Joe Biden is to get to the bottom of how it was that Lutsenko, who was appointed, dismissed the case against Antak.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
You just said you didn't.
Oops. I think Rudy got caught in a lie. Uh-oh. 257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Frank. Frank, thanks for calling in. What's up?
You're talking about the whistleblower?
Yes, sir.
Has the name come out with, made public yet?
No, sir. Someone else just called in a few minutes ago and said that they would not be surprised if by this weekend this name was released. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I'll tell you this, Frank, I don't think there's any question. Eventually, and I don't know how long it's going to be, but eventually we are going to find out who this is.
Okay. Yeah. How did he hear Trump? Was he picking up on an extension phone, or is it recorded, or is there any proof?
Well, while I'm not an expert, even Trump said it himself, there are many people listening. When the president of the United States is speaking to another world leader, there are plenty of people on both sides that are legally allowed to listen, so I'm sure that this is very credible. And I'm not going to say who, but I spoke to someone on the phone yesterday who was very good friends with the attorney for this whistleblower, and told me, that this is 100% credible, that this person listened to the entire conversation. There is audio recordings of it, but the question is, where are these audio recordings now? Who is holding on to those recordings, and will somebody block them from, going public or at least going to Congress? That's the big question here, and that's the evidence of all evidence.
Okay, and one more thing. I've seen on, it was the Hannity show, when Biden was either vice president, he said that he got a prosecutor in Ukraine he got him fired because he was investigating his son. Is there truth to that?
I don't know because, number one, I've never seen any proof of that. So I don't know if that's true or not. There's no question that Joe Biden's son, that whole situation was a conflict of interest. I'll certainly admit that. But I just played those audio clips of Rudy Giuliani claiming that the Obama administration tried to dig up dirt on Trump and Manafort. And then when Rudy Giuliani is asked for proof, when Rudy Giuliani is asked, well, show me the proof. Where is it? Rudy Giuliani claims, I'm not showing it to you. I'll show it to the courts. Well, guess what? There's nothing in the courts about this. I don't know what Rudy is talking about. I just think I really believe he's making stuff out of thin air, and he loses so much credibility every single time he does an interview.
Well,
Frank.
Every time here Adam Schiff came on, they would play him on the networks, and he said about the collusion that he has seen all of the documented evidence. Yet, and I don't want to talk about the Mueller report, but when you hear people say things, now you have a little problem believing any of them.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I think I have a hard time believing many politicians. I mean, that's the truth, Frank, on both the left and the right.
Correct.
Sadly, this is the state of affairs that we are in right now, and you really don't know who to believe. But here's the reason why I believe this, Frank. And you can tell me what you think about this. The reason why I believe this whistleblower story, it comes from somebody up there high in the ranks that was listening to this phone call, number one. Number two, I look at Donald Trump's past and the way he's talked to world leaders, the way he's kissed the ass of Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, two of the most evil, murderous dictators on the planet. He sided with Vladimir Putin on a stage over our own intelligence when it came to Russian interference. He sided with Kim Jong-un on a national stage in front of a microphone when it came to Otto Warmbier. Imagine the types of things that Donald Trump says behind closed doors with these world leaders when he's not in front of the world. Think about the things he said in front of a microphone. Imagine what he's saying behind closed doors. Imagine what he's saying on a telephone call. So is it really beyond reasonable doubt to believe that Donald Trump may have spoken to somebody from the Ukraine, a world leader, and if in return trying to get dirt on Joe Biden? No, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. In fact, I believe it.
You said microphone.
Yeah.
Again on Hannity, they played it again last night. Obama whispering with the microphone on.
I remember that.
Okay, so
I remember that. But this has.
I never heard Obama say, "Hey, I never said that."
No, he didn't.
I never heard that.
Right. I mean, Obama didn't lie about it, number one. And number two, when you compare Obama's past with world leaders to Donald Trump's past, I think it's night and day. Not to defend those comments by Barack Obama. I didn't like those comments. But, Donald Trump has a history with some of these world leaders, and it's not a good history, Frank. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But then listen, those are valid questions you ask. And, Frank, I do believe over time, we're going to get to some of those answers. We're going to find out who this whistleblower is. We're going to get more information. Donald Trump says he doesn't remember speaking. He doesn't remember this conversation. Of course he doesn't. Donald Trump also made a statement today, and he said, well, I could say whatever I want to say. Those are Donald Trump's words. He said that. Folks, I don't care which president it is. I don't care if it's Donald Trump or a Democrat. That's not factually accurate. You can't go on a world stage with a world leader. You can't have a telephone call with a world leader and try to bribe them or do something in your best interest without looking for the best interest of the country. You can't do that. It's against the law. It's called overuse of power. You can be impeached for it. And when people want to call up and people want to say, wow, you're just a Trump hater, you just hate the man. And they just want to discredit everything else and say, well, haters will be haters, right? Doesn't mean it's true. It's got to be false. Whether you like or dislike Donald Trump, and clearly I dislike the man as a human being, it doesn't mean that this story is false. It doesn't mean that it's not true. It's kind of like if you look up to somebody growing up, maybe it's a musician or an actor. Does that mean that there can be no wrongdoing with that person, with that celebrity that you looked up to your whole life? Whether you're a hater of Donald Trump or not, I don't like to use that term hate, but whether you dislike Donald Trump or not, whether you're a supporter of him or not, you have to take this type of story seriously if you're an American. And don't give me this crap that, you must hate America. You don't root for the president. Let me tell you something. I do root for the president. I want the president to succeed. I want these stories to not come up. I want them to go away. Because if the president succeeds, guess who succeeds? You and me. America succeeds. But this is an embarrassment. We're going to get more information on this. We're going to continue to monitor the story. Coming up next, a man who switched and turned his strip club into a sports betting gambling house. Yep, that's right. We'll talk about that next. You are listening to The Vegas Take. We'll be back right after this.